work that they were already doing to maybe later tomorrow or the day after, whenever time will allow, and when the House Business Committee will be able to schedule business. But Honorable Speaker, just to note that as much as I may agree with the Honorable Otiende on a number of things touching on, especially on definitions of who a relative is, who a public officer is, because that which is explicitly provided for in the Constitution, we cannot then seek to redefine it in statute, because the Constitution is the supreme law of the country, and any other law that then we enact that is in conflict with the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, when I was studying commercial law in my CPA, we were told that it becomes ultra vires, and therefore any such definition that goes against what is provided for in the Constitution then will be ultra vires the Constitution and become null and void. However, Honorable Speaker, the definitions like a relative, the Constitution does not define who your relative is. But then it begs a moral question as to how far do you define who your relative is as a public officer? Your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, some that you may not even know. If they are doing business, Honorable Speaker, and they don't eat in your house, they don't depend on your pay as a public officer, they have no direct relation with you, then can you then say that there is a conflict of interest between that distant relative and yourself as a public officer? Therefore, those are issues, Honorable Speaker, that are already before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, of which I believe the Honorable Otiende Amolo is a member. I was hoping he would indicate where they are as a committee, but I am informed he was not in the meeting today, this morning, and therefore I want to believe that JLAC will be able to appraise us on the addendum they are doing that is touching on major amendments that will touch on some of these provisions that the Honorable Otiende has pointed to. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, what is this bill seeking to do? Honorable Speaker, if you read our Constitution, Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, this bill is breathing life to the chapter on leadership and integrity, and more so on matters touching on integrity. And therefore, I would tend to disagree with the senior counsel on issues that touch on integrity, that they would not sit well in this bill, because they do sit well when we talk about issues to do with corruption and conflicts of interest. Honorable Speaker, Article 75 of the Constitution, 75(1)(a). Honorable Speaker, if I care to read that a state officer shall, and it makes it mandatory, shall behave, whether in public and official life, in private life, or in association with other persons, in a manner that avoids a conflict of interest, any conflict between personal interests and public or official duties. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the long objective of this bill is to actualize that particular provision of Article 75(1)(a), that you'll be avoiding conflict of interest between personal interest and public interest or official duties. B, compromising any public or official interest in favor of a personal interest or demeaning the holder of that office, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, there are many other issues, without even belaboring the point that Honorable Otiende also said, we do not need to go through all the 15 or 13 items he listed, but there are some that I would agree with, and many others that I would strongly disagree with, because they intend to actualize and breathe life to Article 75(1)(a)(b) of our Constitution. And if we are truly intent, Honorable Speaker, on slaying the monster that we all talk about, slaying the monster and the dragon of corruption, which spreads far and wide, Honorable Speaker. And I've heard the issues that are being raised on self-preservation. Even as we seek to do what we call self-preservation, Honorable Speaker, we must be careful that we do not self-preserve in a way that we entrench conflict of interest in public offices, Honorable Speaker. Because we must lead from the front as the lawmakers in ensuring that there is absolutely no conflict of interest by public officers